A lot of people seem to have the misconception that permaculture is only planting things that last a long time. And while permaculture does include that aspect of planting, it goes far beyond that. The idea of permaculture is that everything is multifunctional, self-sustaining, and integrated. Permaculture is defined by Google as the development of agricultural ecosystems intended to be sustainable and self-sufficient. Take this example. A typical town is started by clearing and flattening the land to provide easy-to-build areas. But permaculture takes the existing ecosystem and topography into account and designs the town around it to utilize and encourage the natural resources. This way we're working in collaboration with nature and not in competition. Within permaculture, there are 12 basic design principles that help you think long-term and helps you observe patterns and interact with small details for large yields. I hope the following is enough information to get you started, but if you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment below. Starting with principle number 1, observe and interact. Simply put, before you chop down a tree, think about how it's currently affecting the ecosystem and how it will affect the ecosystem in the future if it's gone. Once you interact with the tree by chopping it down, make sure to observe to see if your prediction was right. Number 2, catch and store energy. Energy has many forms, whether that's water, wind channels, biomass, etc. But the idea behind it is to know how to capture, store, and use said energy in a responsible way with the long term in mind. Number 3, obtain a yield. Choosing diverse plants that produce yields such as fruit trees or berry bushes over plants that are purely aesthetic can be a great start to this, but don't forget that even non-edible plants have a yield of their own. Number 4, apply self-regulation and accept feedback. What this means is that we're constantly conscious of the way we go about interacting with our surroundings and are using our experiences and current data to regulate our actions. Sometimes humans make mistakes, but this principle means that we learn from them. Number 5, use and value renewable resources. This doesn't just pertain to the sun, the wind, or the springs, or whatever, but it also extends to other things such as biomass. A tree takes a while to grow, but it is indeed renewable. The goal of this principle is to understand that things take time, and renewable resources are invaluable to your current and your future. Number 6, produce no waste. There's a quote that goes, "Pollution is just wasted resources." And the idea of permaculture is to utilize all resources from dead leaves to human waste to improve the natural resources around you, so in the end, nothing is wasted. Number 7, design from patterns to details. Nature has its own patterns, and if you take it all in and view the big picture, you can add details that accentuate and encourage growth. It's often harder to change nature's patterns than it is to plan around them. Number 8, integrate rather than segregate. The more frequently things interact with each other and the more uses things have, the more resilient and valuable things become. This can be applied to nature as well as to humans. Number 9, use small and slow solutions. Let's take the town from our earlier example. Instead of clearing the whole area and flattening it out, we utilize the various existing clearings and topography and start by cutting a few trees here and there and seeing how things respond. Permaculture takes time, and it's important to remember that even giants are born small. Number 10, use and value diversity. This goes back to principle 8, where we integrate everything with each other, but an example of this is the current beetle outbreak in Colorado. The bark beetle prefers certain evergreen trees, and because the forest consists almost explicitly of these trees, the beetles easily destroy the entire forest within the span of a few years, causing major problems. Within permaculture though, this would be more of a nuisance than a problem, because there's so much diversity in your forest that less than 5% of your trees would probably be affected by it. Number 11, use edges and value the marginal. What this means is that there's no wasted space and energy from one thing to the next. Even the edge of pathways and roads can be a valuable flora if designed correctly. Number 12, creatively use and respond to change. Change is an opportunity to utilize something new. If a giant tree dies and collapses, you have the opportunity to make that area into something better than what it was prior. All of these principles are what make permaculture so important. The idea of collaborating with nature rather than competing with nature is almost a lost art in today's world, so I'm glad to see that you're interested in a better tomorrow. Hopefully you got some value out of this, and if you did, I'd love to hear what permaculture aspects are in your future in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.